The information contained on the Crypto Sports Collector website and social media is for general information and educational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for legal, commercial, and/or financial advice from a licensed professional. The business of online investing is a complicated matter that requires serious financial due diligence for each investment to be successful. You are strongly advised to seek the services of qualified, competent professionals prior to engaging in any investment that may impact your finances.
So I've had a community member ask me specifically about one of the LeBron James moments from the 2020 NBA Finals part of Series 1. This is a legendary. So I think the first comment I have is whenever I'm investing, it's important to understand the context and moment that you're taking a look at. This one's a legendary. So the market for legendaries, I always remind the community, is going to act potentially different than for commons and rares. That said, there are insights you can get based on how legendaries are moving. So that's the first caveat I want to call out, that legendaries, because the market for buyers and sellers is much, much, much smaller than for commons and rares. The market for a specific moment that's a legendary is it could potentially deviate from what the larger market for commons and rares are going to be. So that's caveat number one. That said, it's interesting to look at this chart because it's straight up and then kind of straight down. And I think a big part of this is you've got to understand the macro view of what's happening both with the economy, number one, and number two, with the ascendancy and then the kind of the cooling off of the sports NFT market and specifically NBA TopShot. So if you look at this chart from 2020 to 2021, that peak is, I forgot exactly when that exact moment was sold. I want to say this was probably around January, February timeframe of 2021, somewhere in that range, maybe a little bit further in 2021. That was the absolute height of NBA TopShot, right? The market got really, really hot and sports NFTs got really, really hot. And so this LeBron James moment really is representative of the popular ascendancy of NBA TopShot. And if you think about it, who is going to move the sports NFT market and who's going to move NBA TopShot? It's going to be your Hall of Fame players. LeBron James, Steph Curry, Giannis. Those are going to be the moments that tend to be traded a lot and tend to swing the market and really move the market, right? And so in a lot of ways, LeBron James's moment here represents what was happening with the broader market. Now, the decline in this is also representative of two things. The macroeconomic environment where, we're starting to get into more of a recession type of economy, number one. So that's why you see the straight decline down towards the mid of 2021 down to 2022. So you got the macroeconomics and just the cooling, and then in that laddering down to the cooling of the sports NFT market and just NFTs in general, right? And so both of those things are not new news to people. But what I like to point out in this is, and this is something else that I will analyze in a further video, but the LeBron James moment is very indicative of how the NBA TopShot market and just how the general market for sports NFTs has really kind of evolved and cycled through the past couple of years. There's, just giving some of the highlights of how a market cycle, of how I've observed the market cycle for sports NFTs and specifically NBA TopShot is you'll have a sharp incline up as people are getting excited about the newness and novelty of NBA TopShot and sports NFTs. And you kind of have a peak where everyone's coming is flooding the market because everyone wants a piece of that action, just like the cryptocurrency market, right? At a number of peaks. That tended to happen around the beginning of 2021, right? Really that February, March, April-ish timeframe in 2021. So at the peak, you can see with the LeBron James moment, this is when people were flooding the market and wanted a piece of the NFT hype at that time. So really that February timeframe, and that peak there really kind of indicates the top of the market. And then after that, as folks that were just in it for a quick buck started getting out of the market, as well as the macroeconomic environment starting to really come to fruition and be on the downcline, those are the market forces that I think drove this moment down. And in a lot of ways, this LeBron James moment is indicative of the overall market cycle that I've observed with sports NFTs and really cryptocurrencies over the last couple of years. And so there will be a future video where I break down kind of the market cycle over the last couple of years for NBA TopShot and sports NFTs. But in a lot of ways, I like to mention that this LeBron James is kind of very indicative and shows that dynamic pretty well. But more to come on that market dynamic.
Crypto.